Ginny Roll, who's speaking to us today about moving at the speed of life. Reverend Ginny Roll.
All right. Ooh. Wow, how y'all doing out there? Yeah, you're looking good. Looking good out there. Good. I don't want to scare anybody. Who just came for the first time this morning? The two of you? Okay, so I'm not going to say that what happened to me is going to happen to you, but it could. So, 10 years from now, you could be ministers at Unity, and you could be standing up here doing your first talk. But don't be scared. It's a good ride. It's a fun ride. So I did. I started at Unity in Richmond, and it was one of those things. I literally walked in the door, and I knew this was where I was supposed to be. And for month after month and Sunday after Sunday, I kept getting infused with the ideas that Unity teaches. And they do, if you use them, because you got to do something, but if you use them, they will change your life. And how many of you could attest to that, right? Like right now, everybody in here, right? There's something happens, doesn't it? When all of a sudden you realize, first of all, how magnificent you are, right? As a being, right? And you're here because you are perfect the way you are, right? And then we can celebrate that together, right? Yeah. We are perfect. We were born in perfection. Now, do we do some stupid stuff? Yeah. Okay, yeah, we do. Sometimes we don't make the right... Ronnie... And I'm saying that because in our humanity, we just have an opportunity to do that, right? We might say the wrong thing or think the wrong thoughts or whatever, but truly in our spirit, we're perfection. So this has nothing to do with the topic today. This is an aside. So I'm going to imagine, I heard all the activities that you all are having at the church here over the next couple of weeks and into January, and I know that there's a lot of things that we do at Christmas time, isn't it? Thanksgiving to Christmas. Seems like our hearts are open, and so we are just more open to giving and doing and being a part of wonderful things that we can share with other people and bless them too. However, I'm imagining that most of us sitting here today actually kind of think that life is just moving too fast. Time is moving too fast. I mean, it just seems like it was just Christmas. And now it's just Christmas again coming our way, right? How many of us find ourselves saying, I just don't have enough time. Daggone it. I don't have enough time. I have way too much to do. Anybody resonate with this? Or, I am so stressed out. I'm so stressed. How many? And see, so we're all kind of living in this world that just seems to be moving so fast. And then I reflect on what Jesus said in Matthew 28-30 when he says, "Come unto me, all who labor and are heavy burdened. I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly of heart, and you find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Now, is that quite the invitation to lighten up, right? Lighten up. But how do we do it? In that particular time when Jesus was talking to those folks, most of them had mandatory Jewish laws and standards that were almost impossible to live by. Also, they were living in a time of the Romans who were very interested in persecuting people at the time and placing heavy taxes on them at the time. And so these folks were really, when you think about it, heavy burdened. The word labor in that particular phrase carries the idea of working to the point of utter exhaustion. The term heavy burden indicates a great load or responsibility that were dumped on these people by outside events and things going on in the world. The yoke was a symbol of burden bearing, of oppression and subjugation. Yokes were placed on the necks of the oxen to pull very, very heavy loads, right? They were also placed on prisoners of war and slaves. So the term labor, heavy laden, and yoke all describe people that were utterly exhausted from trying to carry the burden of life. Jesus' listeners were those people. They were so tired. And yet, over 2,000 years later, many of us feel the same way. Do we not? Many of us work several jobs. Many of us may be taking care of aging parents or sick family members. We may have children that are involved in activities every day of the week, Sundays included now, right? Everything goes on 7 days a week. Stores are open 24 hours a day, right? I mean, we can always go out and buy stuff, right? Middle of the night, you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can go buy stuff. Maybe there is a health challenge that you're dealing with right now that really feels like a heavy burden, right? Because we live in an age of nanoseconds. Instant messaging, instant information, instant news, instant everything. We even have workouts that we can do at our workplace desk so that we don't have to spend time doing that after work, right? So we can be working and exercising simultaneously. Who thought of that? That was okay. We constantly look for ways to speed up the process for doing our daily tasks and errands. Now listen to this. Isn't this true? Even waiting a few seconds for the internet to open up gets on our nerves, doesn't it? It's like, this is not fast enough. You know, why am I waiting so long? Victory in sports demands more and more speed, and winners are declared by infinitesimal amounts of time, right? The earth is revolving on its axis at the speed of more than 1,000 miles an hour and travels around its orbit even much faster than that. And so we can say time is flying by. But what causes our need to rush and feel stress and worry and strain? I love the song that we just had. All I need is finding rest in you, right? So we're going to find a place to have that rest today within us, even though the next few weeks are going to be very busy for just about everybody in this room. So why do we feel like we need to rush? Are we trying to keep up with something? Remember that phrase used to always be, I'm keeping up with my neighbors? But are we just trying to keep up with ourselves now? I mean, we can't even keep up with what we're doing, much less pay attention to what the neighbor is doing. Are we trying to fill an emptiness within us that doesn't allow us to ever rest and quiet ourselves and still ourselves? Our culture promotes it, does it not? I just read an article, and I can't remember where it was because I'd like to reference it for you, but it stated that nowadays our value is determined by how busy our busy list is. If you say to somebody, well, what are you doing today? Well, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this and this. And that actually creates others thinking that you have value. Now, we know this is insane, right? Because it doesn't, does it? Our value comes from the inside. But think about that. And he went on to say in the article that it crosses every strata of income. It doesn't matter where you are on the income range. We look at how busy you are as how valued you are in our world today. Our nerves are tightened with the strain of unnecessary things in our daily lives that we need to do at the speed of light. If it wasn't for Oprah, I don't know that women would have ever even gotten the idea that they could have self-care. I think she did a wonderful thing for women on her show, talking about, women, you need to take care of yourself. Many of you work outside the home, and then you also work inside the home. You need to take care of yourself. But if you told somebody, you know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to take a nice walk over at Maymont Park. Then I think I might have a leisurely lunch. I might watch a Hallmark movie. I don't know if the rest of you watch Hallmark movies. But if you tell somebody that your day is very easy and you don't have a lot of things to do, what do you think the person's thinking? Yeah, you're lazy. Yeah, you're lazy. Why aren't you doing something? What did you just say? There you go. And you could. So how do we cultivate a sense of calmness and rest, especially this time of the year? So this is an interesting story about the idea of the yoke and what Jesus said, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." Two men were driving along a field when they noticed an old farmer plowing with a team of oxen. One of the team was a huge ox, and the other was a small bullock. The ox towered over the little one that was sharing the work with him. But it seemed odd that the farmer was trying to plow with two such unequal animals in the yoke. And so the first man commented on the inequity to the man with whom he was driving. He stopped his car and said, "I want you to notice something. See the way that those traces are hooked to the yoke? You will observe that the large ox is pulling all the weight, and that the little one is being broken into the yoke, but he's actually not pulling any weight." The man's mind instinctively came to the passage in Scripture that says, "Take my yoke upon you, learn of me, for I am." In the normal yoking, load is equally distributed between the two that are yoked together. But when we are yoked with the consciousness of the Christ, then it is not I, but the Christ within who does the work. Ooh. Isn't that what unity teaches? That we are the Christ, we are the individualized expression of God in the world. And in unity, we call that the Christ. So we are Christed beings, right? We live and move and have our being in this essence of the infinite. Therefore, when we feel overburdened and we feel like we've got a million things to do, we don't have to carry that by ourselves, right? We turn within. We have something in unity called the 12 powers. And those are 12 attributes or qualities that we call part of our godness. We can turn within. If we feel really overburdened or overloaded, we can turn within and tap into the strength within us to help us get through that day, get through all the things that we need to do, right? If we need to make a really difficult decision, we can turn within to ourselves, to that Christness of us, or someone said godness of us, and we can go to the idea of wisdom. We have all our own answers, right? But where do we find them? Not out here, right? We find them when we take that time to rest, right? Rest in the Lord. Rest in the knowing that we have available to us everything that we need, whether it's wisdom, strength, love, peace, joy, harmony, whatever you need, turn within and find that, and then take that into the rest of your day as you go about your busy schedule. It doesn't necessarily mean that you put everything aside and don't do anything. But what it means is you come at it with an entirely different attitude, an entirely different approach, right? Because it is not I, but that essence of the Christ within me, living, breathing, and moving through me, that does the work, that moves me in the direction of what I need to do, with an entirely different spirit, with an entirely different mindset, an entirely different way of thinking. So the only time that our load becomes overbearing is when we try to take over and do it all ourselves. When we think that we are alone in the world, and when we feel that we have no help or no source. And yet, your prosperity statement says that there is a source, And it is not our work. It is not our job. It is an infinite source of supply that comes and moves in and through our lives, right? Whether it's prosperity, meaning looking for a job and finding something that's perfect for us, financial source, whatever that is, but it's never one place. See, I think of this infinite Godness within us, and this is such a silly visual, but I tell you, it works for me. I feel like in my mind, I've got all these file cabinets. Now, some of you would say, no, we have a computer with a hard drive. Okay, you can do that one. But in those cabinets, in those filing cabinets, I have the ability to find everything that I need, right? I can turn within. The sources are unlimited. It's like we live in a big smorgasbord, right? And we get to decide, do we just want to only eat desserts? Oh, we could, right? Or do we want to have a balanced meal? We can do that. We have the opportunity to move in any direction that we want to move in. And the same way as getting us through the holidays. How do we want to spend this holiday? The days will go by quickly, won't they? What do you want to do? What do you want to remember about Christmas 2017, Thanksgiving 2017? What do you want to remember? Do you want to remember, working with the people and doing the crafts for the craft show that you all are having? Do you want to go and help somebody else? Do you want to spend more time with your family and actually listen to what they're talking about? Do you want to eat a meal with them? Some do, some don't. But anyway, you get to decide, right? Right? You get to decide that, right? Yeah. So how do you want to spend your holiday season this year? Even if you're rushing around, take that moment, just like we did today, to take that little bit of silence and rest and get rejuvenated from within, and then go about the rest of your day. Yogananda says, calmness is the living breath of God's immortality in you. I think that is such a beautiful idea. And I have an acronym for REST. To me, rest means relaxation, enjoyment, surrender, and trust. And to me, that's a nice way to think about rest, right? I will give you rest. So let's, as we move into the rest of the season, let us see ourselves yoked to that Christ presence within us, right? So we always have every resource that we need to get through the holidays, right? Everything that we need is available to us. There's a beautiful poem. It's called Surrender by Cheryl Unruh, U-N-R-U-H. And I thought it was kind of interesting, the words in her poem. It says, I wave the white flag, no longer can fight. By trying so hard, I'm tense and uptight. I have to surrender. Stress has taken its toll. I release my tight hold. I let go of control. It is upon God that I've learned to depend. In the silence, I listen to God's guidance within. Peace overwhelms me and calmness prevails. New joy is beginning. Fresh air fills my sails. So I invite you this holiday season to allow yourself to feel peaceful and calm and refreshed. Enjoy this season, the season of joy, a season of love. And I wish you a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Thanksgiving, and all the rest. I'm delighted to have been here today with you.